So many questions are coming in to you today, so I'm going to get straight to them. Restine says, what are Sam's thoughts on her half-sister allegedly targeting Prince Harry, then using Soho House connections to make sure she got inside his circle? Do you have any thoughts on that? And has Meghan acted like that on anything else before?
Okay, well, I'm a fence sitter on that. Like, we can say on the one hand, yeah, in my opinion, it seems a little bit stalkerish, yeah. But I mean, I've known lots of women and lots of people in my life who said, "Oh, I'm going to marry my high school sweetheart," or they see a basketball player in a crowd, or they see somebody and they set their sights on that person and they do everything they can to get close and to meet and to charm that person. So is it really wrong? I would say a lot of people do it without, being a party to every little step and every little strategy. Um, I would say it's wrong to pursue someone because of who they are, right? It's not like she said, "I want to find a guy." I mean, her thoughts seemingly weren't from the very beginning, or is he nice? It seems like you'd want to know someone is nice before you start pursuing them and doing all of the footwork. Like, you know what I mean? So then, with that said, it seems like the whole pursuit was for the prestige and the status of the person.
Oh,
So
definitely.
that,
Because remember, I did all of my
yeah.
reporting about that time when she was only looking for a celebrity. It's just that she hit the jackpot with Prince Harry. It's so funny, Sam, when you think of the other people who she was targeting, who, by the way, they're nice guys, but there are people like Ashley Cole, the footballer, Matt Cardle, who won X Factor, Max George, who was in The Wanted. That was the sort of level of celebrity that she was going for. So the fact that all of a sudden Prince Harry came into her orbit, I guess, was off the scale. But when you knew what she was, when you saw her growing up, she wanted to be an actress. So did she always have this interest in celebrity? And given Trevor Engelson, her first husband, was someone who was in the industry and presumably could help her with connections, do you think there was that degree of social climbing going on? Because I know it's something Lady Colin Campbell talks a lot about in terms of the people who she meets now, a lot of billionaires, people who she thinks can get her moving on up in the world. Is that how she's always viewed her love life?
Um, and don't take this the wrong way. I'm certainly not defending her, but in Hollywood, it's not just, yeah, there are some people that are fame whores, so to speak. There are some people who are gold diggers, who want to meet celebrities and get it. But there are also people who want to meet someone who has their interests in common. And certainly growing up in television, it makes sense that she would want to meet someone in the industry, because not only, yes, there are opportunities that you can cultivate together, you can grow together in the industry, but when you have conversations, you really have real things in common that you're fascinated by, interested in creatively, intellectually, that you talk about. So I don't think, with regards to Trevor, no, that seems totally normal. A lot of people who are on the fringes of Hollywood have parents working in the industry, want to be with someone in the industry, because otherwise you're having conversations and the person is kind
Yeah.
of clueless about what you're talking about.
It's sort of a
Um,
Hollywood thing. Yeah, I get that.
yeah, yeah.
But then it was almost like she outgrew him because she became too famous for him.
No, I don't think on Suits she was more famous than him. I think because he was certainly Hollywood royalty, hardworking, well known, well respected. I kind of think it was the other way around, and he was more reputable than she. But I think what pulled them apart was distance, and that happens seemingly with a lot of Hollywood marriages. 6 months, a year apart. I mean, you can't with jet lag. You can't fly and be
Yeah.
together every other day or even on the weekend. It's too much strain. So I would personally attribute the distance to a lot of that.
Verita asks, Does Sam think Meghan will be shocked at how unpopular she has become? Also, I think Meghan doesn't look at all comfortable or cocky when she's been in royal settings, but how come she doesn't feel totally embarrassed going to the Queen's funeral after everything she had said about the royals?
Again, I'm going to say it's salient in the media, so I don't, want to be, I don't want to be diagnosing her. But much of what she's engaged in seems to lack empathy, remorse, and shame. And so, with that said, first of all, I don't think there was ever a bond really between her and Queen Elizabeth, because she only did 72 days of royal duty, and look at the way she treated our father, a lifetime of devotion and sacrifice. So why is she all of a sudden going to, ignore him and feel heavily bonded with Queen Elizabeth, who she spent very little time with? I don't believe there was a bond there. So to feel anything at the funeral kind of wouldn't make sense if she can't feel for our own father. It just seems like, in my opinion, she was going through the motions, and clearly there were photo opportunities there, and I don't know how Netflix factored into it, but that didn't feel real to me either.
No, it didn't feel real to me. I mean, she has this incredible ability, and obviously this is a really good thing if you're an actress, Sam, to cry on demand. I mean, she's boasted about it before, right?
Well, but you know what? There's something to be said for actresses who cry on demand. You can see we have souls. You can see by every muzzle in their face, by the follow through, the presence in the moment. Just because somebody cries doesn't mean you're going to evoke feeling. A lot of people can do that. There's fake laughter, there's fake crying. And yeah, when she did the One Tear Left I Go, or even at the end of that Africa documentary where she did this, what I call fake little joke, and, wanted to force a tear out of her eye, I'm glad somebody asked if I'm okay thing. And it didn't work. That's not being a good actress. Being a good actress requires being real and being able to feel. And so it felt like there's something missing. There's a barrier. So no, in my opinion, she's not that good of an actress because it didn't telegraph. It didn't move us.
But you think at the Queen's funeral, because remember there was lots of discussion about this at the time, you think they were fake tears?
Yeah, I do. I mean, if she meant those feelings, she wouldn't have mocked the Queen and the curtsying while the Queen was suffering from bone cancer and the Netflix thing. Do you see what I'm saying? There's an antithesis there. It's like you're mocking her on the one hand, which is very, clear disregard, and then pushing these little tears out at a funeral on camera. Well, if you felt those tears, you wouldn't have behaved that way and mocked her while she was suffering from bone cancer in the Netflix documentary, along with other reported instances of disregard and disrespect towards Queen Elizabeth. So, yeah, force a tear all you want, but we saw what was going on over here and it doesn't jive.
But now, I've only promised to talk about products on this show that are actually life-changing. This one is a little bit more personal, so stick with me. But the fellas watching are going to completely get it, and the ladies would do very well to treat their husband or boyfriend, because this really is a game changer. So I have to tell you, us men want our grooming routine to be a one and done deal. With the days of using the same trimmer for your face and your nether regions are over, thanks to our friends at MANSCAPED. They've come up with the ultimate package to keep you trimmed from 12 to 6, if you get what I'm saying. So introducing the Beard and Balls bundle featuring the Lawnmower 5.0 and the Beard Hedger. It's not this sort of lawnmower, by the way. So girls, have you had enough of your badly lawned man? Does he sometimes attack himself like one of those out of control lawnmowers? Stop him. Get precision trimming for all areas, even the sensitive ones, and get him as manicured as freshly cut grass. So yes, I am talking about a trimmer for the moneymaker and another for the boys downstairs. Now, this trimmer gets it right the first time. It's gentle on the skin in all the delicate places, and with 2 interchangeable skin-safe blade heads, you can choose between a precise trim or a smooth finish. And did I mention it is waterproof, so you can now trim in the shower and avoid making a mess everywhere. Perfect for those of us who appreciate efficiency. Now let's talk about the beard hedger, whether you're going for a neat stubble, a little bit like mine at the moment, or a full-on lumberjack look. This trimmer has you covered. It features a titanium-coated stainless steel T-blade and 20 length options, which is so good because it means you can achieve any style you want with just a twist of the zoom wheel. And just like the lawnmower, the beard hedger is also waterproof, so you can handle your beard grooming right in the sink or shower without worrying about water damage. With up to 60 minutes of runtime and an LED charge indicator, you'll never be caught mid-trim with a dead battery. It genuinely is such a gentle product, so no more cuts. You'll keep your loved one very happy, and using this product, I can tell you, will really increase your confidence. The very exciting news is that today you can get 20% off and free shopping. All you have to do is use the code Outspoken at manscaped.com. So manscaped.com. The link is available in our YouTube description. So that's 20% off and free shipping with the code Outspoken at manscaped.com. No more juggling multiple tools or dealing with subpar results, just efficient, effective grooming wherever you need it for the premium grooming experience. And that's what I'm all about. Trust Manscaped. Really interesting question here from Gail Miller, who says, "Hi Dan and Samantha. My question is, at any point after Meghan announced her engagement to Prince Harry, did your father and Doria ever speak about the pending nuptials? Did they plan to meet and discuss any sort of plan like united front before it all went south? Thank you."
Well, I think a lot of people remember the Thanksgiving turkey being handed through. My dad was there, Meg was there, Doria was there, and Meghan put a little thing out on Twitter. I'm, having Thanksgiving with my 2 favorite gems, meaning mom and dad, right? My parents. So that was there. They were supposed to meet. Harry reportedly had some business to do on an island somewhere and couldn't show up. But he reportedly rented the house in Beverly Hills and did that whole thing. It was catered. No, Meghan didn't cook that turkey. But yeah, they did, and they were supposed to meet. Harry was supposed to meet my dad there.
And Doria and Thomas had kept a cordial relationship, hadn't they?
Well, right. I mean, I think up to and before the wedding, even on Mother's Day, this is what's so great about my dad, which is so weird about Doria. My dad was so chivalrous. Paparazzi just blasted everywhere that they got him putting roses on Doria's doorstep. Consummate gentleman. Like, even though he was, being treated coldly and the media was being weird and there was already paid PR starting, he was still doing his gentlemanly duty and paying respect on Mother's Day, which, number one, he didn't have to do. 2, was never reciprocated. And so, before the wedding, I felt it was incumbent upon Doria, as gracious as my dad was, to, since Harry and Meghan reportedly said that Doria was their advisor in all things. We all see how that's worked out now, but why didn't you advise them to pay respects to dad, who gave them everything? And then you're sitting in the pew at the wedding crying all by yourself. It shouldn't have been that way at all. My father should have been there. It should have been handled well. All of the family members should have been invited, not kept away so that all of the secrets wouldn't come out and lies revealed, in my opinion. But and then none of the drama would have happened. You wouldn't have had to pay PR. You wouldn't have had to. So Doria had an obligation to step in as a social worker and try and get everybody on the same page. But it seemed like she was more focused on self-preservation and glorification. whatever. I guess that's her thing, but not, I don't think social workers do that.
Brilliant question here from Anna Island, who says, assuming Samantha realised in earlier years that Meghan was super narcissistic, did she ever imagine Meghan had the psycho skills and strategy to hook a prince? Or does she think that that was sheer luck?
I don't think it was sheer luck. Clearly, she was positioning herself in a way so as to be able to meet people at that level. And so that takes me back to the fact that without Dad paying for a Northwestern education, and getting her that degree and getting her feet wet in Hollywood, she wouldn't be mingling with people like that. She wouldn't have met Trevor. She wouldn't have gone on that trip to Buckingham because Dad paid for that trip. She did a 5-week study program in Argentina that Dad paid for. No, she never worked for the embassy. But what I'm saying is Dad put her in a position to be able to gain knowledge, experience, and meet a lot of people that she would never have met. So, I think there's a lot to be said for that. And as far as, so I don't think that was luck. I'm going to attribute that to Dad's blood, sweat, and tears. And yeah, she had desire, but it seems like he did a lot more footwork to get her to where she would be to be able to meet someone like Harry.
Monarch wants an update on your lawsuit, Sam. She says, how did she react to her defamation case against Meghan being dismissed with prejudice, meaning she couldn't refile it? I was shocked by the news, she says. But we hosted a discussion with you and Peter Tinkton, your brilliant lawyer, who also is a close friend of Donald Trump and has previously represented Donald Trump. And he said this wasn't over, Sam. So what's the update?
The appeal has been filed. And it's been filed on the grounds that, with an appeal, you always want to look for errors in the application of the rule of law to the facts of the case. So we're taking it from there and looking forward to bringing everything out on the table, because there was a lot more involved in just the degree and, how much did you see her and at what age? And that's not really what was at issue. And PR was like running with that ball like it was a big deal. Oh, no, there was so much more. There was Netflix. There was Oprah. There was so much more that constituted big picture defamation.
I mean, you were trashed on an international scale, right, and it wasn't true, which is the fundamental issue. It wasn't true. I mean, she claimed that you didn't exist at one point.
Well, I know we threw finding freedom out of the equation, but the bottom line is, in Florida, with regards to publishing, you have to show that she actually published it. It's a really weird technicality, I feel, that needs to be updated, because in a unique royal relationship, in my opinion, where someone doesn't actually do the physical publication, but is limited and has a communications press secretary and is representing and directing the publication, I believe that there's an accountability. So there was a lot more going on there too. And then, that letter came out in Discovery in England where Harry had said to Jason Knopf, we have to make it look like we weren't involved. Clearly they were involved. And this seems to be an MO that has trickled over into a lot of things. And I'm going to include Netflix. I'm going to include Oprah. So the defamation was massive. I was tormented on Continuum. More than 50 million people saw Oprah. I don't know how many saw the Netflix documentary, but there was no need for it. And then in her book, Finding Freedom, there was a whole chapter labeled A Problem Like Samantha. And then you go to the chapter, there's not really anything about me, but that's where the pictures are placed, just so people could see the title, A Problem Like Samantha, and she could label me a problem. Okay, well, what's the problem? But it was a jab and it was defamatory. And more than that, to suggest that I was a high school dropout. No, I had a 75-foot fall. That's what I dropped out of, and later went back to get 2 master's degrees, but she didn't mention that part. So it's to label someone a high school dropout and, a hussy of sorts. A lot of things happened that were derogatory, unnecessary, and clearly malicious because they were unnecessary. She didn't benefit by it, and it wasn't really done for any reason other than to discredit and to damage me. It was like an infliction of psychological distress. It was a character assassination, and it was ongoing. It was really pretty bad.
Oh, it was so
bad. We are appealing that, yeah.
And he's got high hopes, right? Because the issue was there was a Democratic judge, I think an Obama appointee, is that right? Who seemed to be in the tank for Meghan and really have it in for you. And that judge won't have anything to do with this appeal.
Correct. And, without wielding any accusations, I'm going to say there was a clear conflict of interest. There were, her PR people were Barack Obama's people who got him elected. The judge was appointed by Barack Obama, clearly DNC structured, and I'm on the other side of the fence, and so is my attorney. So with that said, there were a lot of problems, and I wanted to get her recused in the beginning, and she wouldn't recuse herself. So I kind of feel like, no, this was a conflict of interest. It was easy to show. It shouldn't have gone on this long, in my opinion. And I'm looking forward, to us being able to present all of the evidence in more of an unbiased forum.
Unduam, and this is wanting you to look back again, but with an interesting take, actually. I like this question, Sam. She says, looking back, do you see a measure of manipulation, lack of empathy, and people skills, like reading the room, in Meghan's younger years? Things that seemed cute then that just make sense now as she continues to use, abuse, and discard those around her. And she asked, is she even capable of love and empathy?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. And I think I talked about this in my book. There were some little moments where she would come out in flippant little moods, but kids go through that. They are exploring, their identity and, sort of dominating situations and handling challenges and responding to things. That's how we grow and understand ourselves and the world around us. So I wasn't looking for anything like narcissism, and I was trying not to make a lot out of it because I also knew, even though I wasn't in a counseling program yet, my educational counseling program, I still had a sense of, oh, she's a kid, you got to let her have this moment because for whatever reason, she's feeling insecure. So if she said something flippant, I just kind of let her have it and let her feel that and would try and help her work through it and say, oh, no, don't. But I wasn't looking for a pattern. And I don't think my dad was aware of it either. So we just took a lot of it as moodiness. And Dory is a lot like that, too, in my opinion. Dory is, pretty snippy and matter of fact, and, don't give away the milk for free flour, just kind of like off the cuff, cynical, it has a snippy comeback for a lot of things. So I thought maybe it was, is it nature or nurture? I thought it was a lot of nurture. And maybe she was channeling her mom. But, and again, as teenagers, we all channel our parents. People to this day say, don't do that. You sound like your mom. Don't do that. You look like your dad. So how do you, I wouldn't have been able to foresee this or to know how much of that was attributable to something that would turn into what others worldwide are calling narcissism. Yeah.
Great answer. And final question here from Maggie Farron, who asks, are you still writing your new book on your early life with Meghan? Maggie says it will make very interesting reading.
Yes, book 2 is going to come out, but I've had, as we've had a lot going on. My dad's health, we've had challenges with all of this, and then there's my case. So I think as this unfolds, there's the right time for everything. It's like, had I put it out a little bit early, it would be premature and not include a lot of what is important. But again, as I think a lot of people saw with book number one, yes, she had something to do with my life path, my life journey, but it was never a slamming tell-all about her. The book was not about her. And she factored into it, but I would say that was fractional and that there are bigger messages in there. Similarly with book two will be the case.
Oh, Sam, you're amazing. You're absolutely amazing. It is such a privilege that in these very odd circumstances, I've got to know you and your family, and you're one of the good guys. I think so much of the liberal media coverage of the Markles is so wrong. And obviously so much of it has been driven by Meghan, but also so much of it is actually quite snobby and or anti-American as well, because I think you are great American patriots. And I know that next time you're back on Outspoken, we're going to be talking a lot about American politics, aren't we?
Wonderful. Look forward to it. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, a lot of what went on had to do with paid PR. There's a lot of censorship going on, and there's a lot of DNC money being thrown around. It's hard to imagine, but these PR hubs control 7, 8, 9 magazines, umpteen television shows. And so they shape social perception. And what was really weird for me, though, is not only that output, but the snowball effect of that and the public perception and regurgitation of it. As it's like a lot of this stuff that's going on. And I said this about Donald Trump in the beginning. I mean, when he was talking about fake news, when they put it out again and again and again to people who are busy and don't otherwise know, it becomes the gospel. And it's like, no matter what you say, they say, oh no, everybody's saying it. So Samantha must be wrong. It must be a lie. It must be not true because the whole world is saying it. Well, the whole world is repeating stories that were put out by paid PR in most of those cases. And so it was just such a weird phenomena. I think we have to get back to honest, ethical journalism, telling the true story, not twisting it with a paid agenda. That's the problem. And no one can say, yeah, you can put out negative news if it's factual. You can't put it out because someone told you to twist it and jab. Because then everybody else twists it and jabs it, and it becomes insurmountable.
You are so right. And that's one of the reasons, by the way, that I have been so determined to launch this independent platform, because I know that the mainstream media is dead. And I'm so delighted, Sam, that you're going to be a part of our Outspoken journey. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please do subscribe if you want lots more clips and interviews like that. Plus, if you want to watch our totally uncensored after show, then visit www.outspoken.live.